What's up guys, I'm Taylor with TK Disc Golf and we are back with another glow comparison video. This is our third year in a row of doing this and we are super excited to see what the data shows. We do our comparisons a lot different than anybody else on YouTube because we use a real light meter that tracks the brightness of an object over time. So we're able to actually put real data points to a chart in Excel to see which disc golf discs have the brightest and longest lasting glow in the market. So hey, let's dive into the comparison. But first off, I have to give a massive shout out to Daddy Disc Golf because without them, this video would not have been possible. It would have just been too expensive for me to purchase every single one of these discs. So I reached out to Josh and Casey and was like, hey, do you mind to loan me some glow discs so I can do another video? And they were like, absolutely. I went on their website and it was super easy to pick as many of the major brands as I could. And they were to my house within like a few days. They ship super fast. So for this glow season, be sure to hit up Daddy Disc Golf and check out their inventory because they represent most of the major brands and you will not be disappointed. Now I'll give a quick rundown of how the experiment works for those of you that may have never seen the channel before or this series. I've got this light meter. It measures in a unit of measure called lux, which allows me to know the brightness of an object, and I take different measurements at different time points to plot them into Excel into some nice line charts. So I take a measurement at 10 seconds, which is initial brightness, 30 seconds, a minute, and then every 30 seconds all the way up to the 10-minute mark. I was charging each disc for 30 seconds, keeping an eye on my stopwatch, and then as soon as the 30 seconds hit, I turned off of my UV light and was able to tape the light meter to the edge of the disc to a fixed spot and then took my measurements from there. Now for this year's experience, I have 8 new contenders, and starting off we've got MVP, which is the reigning champion from the past 2 years. We've got 2 different offerings from Innova because they actually have a new prototype glow that they've been bragging about, and honestly it's been pretty impressive seeing some of the photos of them. We've got some Discmania glow, a Kastaplast Berg, a Bobcat from Mint discs, the Halloween Buzz from this year, and then a Prodigy glow disc. I tried my best to pick up discs that were manufactured in the year 2024 to make this comparison as fair as possible to the current market. After collecting all my data points, I quickly plugged them into Excel. I'll paste it into the video here. You can pause if you want, but I'm not going to spend too much time griping over the numbers. We're going to just quickly move on to these easier to read charts. The first line graph shows all the different brands that I measured this year, and obviously MVP's green glow, still the reigning champion by a large margin. In second place though was Innova's new prototype green, which is really cool to see. I did a video earlier this year comparing their first run of the Proto Glow to MVP's green and aqua and their various other colors, and it was really impressive to see the improvement from Innova being one of the worst glow plastics on the market to quickly becoming easily second place compared to the rest. Moving on, we've got Innova's new orange color, which was super cool to see because I've really not seen an orange colored color glow from any manufacturer, and that actually stacks up pretty closely to Discmania's standard green glow, which honestly is a good glow plastic as well. Kastaplast and Mint are pretty neck and neck, and then Discraft wedged their way between like the Discmania and the Kastaplasts. And then Prodigy, I didn't know much about their glow. I had heard it wasn't great, and this graph proves it. It is by far the worst glow plastic that I have ever had plotted onto one of our charts. This next chart is a logarithmic style of line chart, which really helps spread out the different colors as well, and keeping them less bunched together, obviously showing MVP at the top, and it really shows a great comparison of how close Discmania and Innova's orange glow was, and especially the Costa and the Mint being super close as well. And then you can just see that Prodigy plastic absolutely plummet to 0 almost immediately after starting the experiment. Now, since we've done this for the past 3 years, that gives us some cool data points to do some comparisons between prior years. So with MVP 2024, their plastic was actually slightly brighter than the measurements I collected last year. And this year's disc was a Detour from their Halloween series, and last year was a Hex, both mid-ranges, so they should be similar flight plates and things like that. So that's interesting to see that their plastic bumped up a little bit. Obviously, like a true scientific experiment, I would be doing an an average of like a dozen different runs of the same plastic to try to get a true average, but I don't have time for that, so I just did single measurements for every single one of these discs. Moving on, we've got some Kastaplast experiments. Their plastic is pretty much identical to last year. Doing a little comparison of Innova's plastic now versus the first run of their Proto Glow earlier this year, and their green Proto is honestly pretty spot on with where it is now, not much change. The orange glow is actually pretty close to the DX Glow Proto Glow that they had, so that's pretty cool to see. And then I also put the 2022, the old garbage Innova Glow on here to show truly how much they have improved over the past couple years. So honestly, hats off to them. Yes, I'm on Team MVP, but I love to see glow plastic improve, so got to give them a tip of the hat for that one. Taking a look at Discmania's glow compared to last year, and it's almost identical, super neck and neck, so some good consistency from year over year there. Now Discraft did have a slight downtick in their initial brightness and longevity for this year's glow experiment. However, the buzz that they did this year versus the Halloween buzz from last year, it was a different type of plastic. This one was completely opaque, almost like a neutron or a star plastic, versus last year's just that typical slightly transparent like Z or Champion glow or Eclipse type glow plastic. So that could be the reason why they had a slight downtick, but overall this year's Halloween buzz is still very solid contender for good glow plastic. Now obviously, just because the light meter was reading a 0.0 does not mean that the disc wasn't visible to the naked eye still. Even some of the ones that were reading a flat 0 on the light meter were still plenty visible, even at like the 10 to 20 minute mark. I do like to take some photos with my iPhone, turn off the night mode, turn the exposure down a bit so it just gives a true representation what the discs look like in person. And to be honest, most of the discs were still pretty visible even after like the 15 to 20 minute mark. And then by the hour mark, it was those typical MVPs, the Innovas, really visible, still looking great, while the rest of them were slowly starting to taper off there. Some final thoughts about this comparison. It's really cool, honestly, to see most major manufacturers have increased their glow technology to an extent. Previously, it was just MVP as the outright leader, and all of a sudden Innova comes out with a Proto Glow this year, and then Discmania and Discraft have had some nice upticks over the past couple years as well. And this is honestly a sigh of relief. As someone that likes to play glow disc golf, it's nothing more frustrating than having to sprint down the fairway to help find your buddy's disc because you know the thing's not going to last very long. Even these ones that are hitting like a 0.0 on the light meter around like the 7-8 minute mark, those things are being visible with the naked eye for quite a bit after that. So you have no problem with being able to throw your disc and casually walk and find your stuff 10-15 minutes after the fact. You'll have no problems there. As long as you charge your disc on every hole, any one of these discs besides the Prodigy one will be more than adequate to play some nice glow disc golf this fall and winter. I want to thank you guys for watching yet another glow comparison video from us. If you want to see us do this again in the future, be sure to drop a comment, and if there's any other brands that you think we've missed, please let us know. I really try to stick to the major manufacturers, but I know there's some other ones out there like RPM and Gateway and some others where people swear that they have good stuff. I've just not been able to get my hands on them in the past couple years. So next year, I think I'm going to try to do one final glow comparison video and just hit every single manufacturer I can get my hands on and actually prep for this video ahead of time. This is every year it seems to sneak up on me, and I last minute have to acquire these discs to get something out for you all to watch. So again, thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one.